You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Hey gang, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. Hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Stuff I want to speak about today. How long a B sample takes to come back. Not that long regarding Mudryk. There is an article on forgotten star boy. Highly rated, high ceiling centre forward Armando Broja. We might hit some of that up at the end because that's on the Athletic. Benfica! Portuguese publication record saying Joao Felix to return to Benfica, the club that made him cost 120 million big ones. And I want to react and reflect to some stories going around ESPN Football 365 talking about Maresca walking, resigning if people don't back his plan. ESPN suggesting that he could be sacked, though Julien Laurens of ESPN saying he shouldn't be sacked. We'll get into that a little bit as well. There is talks about Osimhen, but I'm going to put that on ice for a moment. And maybe, I might quickly comment on this Cole Palmer conspiracy, which made me laugh quite a lot. Yeah, man, thanks for joining me. Strap yourselves in. Really do appreciate all the community here on Football Therapy. You can become a part of it by subscribing. Hitting the bell if you choose to subscribe. And if you want to support your friendly local content creator, why not drop a like? Yeah, off the bat, mate, let's talk about this Cole Palmer thing. Made me laugh. So it was a Chelsea post yesterday, this day last year. It's when, clip of Cole Palmer cooking, playing really well. And he reposted it. It's really a salient point that he hasn't just posted this piece of media. He was tagged in an official Chelsea piece and he reposted it saying enjoyment because he was cooking. And, that's become him saying, I love Pochettino, I hate Maresca, I used to be good, now I'm not bad. It's just crazy, the what's been deciphered out of this. What's he supposed to put? Bad times. If he posted this clip out of nowhere that wasn't just tagged him by Chelsea or been posted by Chelsea, if he'd pulled up this clip from nowhere and said and wrote when things were going better or something like that, yeah, I get it. But him to just repost and write enjoyment, I was like, wow, we are scraping the barrel here. He's been coached by Maresca before. Cole Palmer's been interviewed saying Maresca's the guy to put me on the right wing originally. Everyone's calling for him to go back on the right wing. He said Maresca's the guy who turned me into a right winger. I just think it's all nonsense. There's problems, but let's just not create something out of nothing. My word. All right, let's move on. We'll talk about Felix. Actually, no, let's talk about the B sample quickly. So this is something that I posted on my Instagram. Yeah. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Football Yannick, as you can see here. This is something I pulled from the internet trying to research about the B sample. The B sample opening and analysis typically occurs within 10 working days after the athlete requests their B sample be analysed. So Mudryk gets tested for doping. It comes back positive. He goes, I didn't know about that. Let's have a B sample. And then typically, on average, it takes 10 days. Well, that was months ago. So I'm guessing we're assuming the worst from Mykhailo Mudryk now. Of course, something we have learned from all journalists and publications are he's obviously provisionally banned from football until we know the long-term ban. But as I understand it, and what journalists have been saying, is that there's no obligation to state what's going on publicly, and that be Mudryk, Chelsea Football Club, or indeed the FA or the governing body until maybe a while. But guys, let me know what you think. But I think it's bad, basically, and it's probably gonna go to a court of arbitration to sport. And probably one of the reasons why Chelsea is looking at a right-footed, left-sided winger. Let me know your thoughts. Let's move on. Alright, so this next story regarding Joao Felix is coming from Record, which is Portuguese sports publication. This is the article, and it is translated into English. So forgive me if it sounds broken, because when you translate languages with Google Translate, it sounds peculiar. So bear that in mind before we jump in. I just realized you need to sign up and pay. Okay, well, I'm going to keep this in. I am absolutely no way paying for this, but the opening paragraph goes, Joao Felix is back on Benfica's agenda, according to Record, and the goal is for the player's loan to be completed by the beginning of June. So, like, the special Club World Cup transfer window done at the latest. The beginning of June at the latest. Rui Costa would like to be able to count on the forward for the Club World Cup. Wow, which starts in a month. Well, I don't need to read the rest because that's it. It goes on, but that's all I need to know. Benfica, the club that made him, he was sold to Barcelona when he was a teenager for 120 million plus euros, I believe it was. One of the record signings in world football at the time. Of course, we've been trying to wonder. I mean, it's not necessarily over with Chelsea. That's the briefings, but I think it probably is. He was a transfer of convenience with George Mensch, the agent, so they could sell Conor Gallagher for pure profit to Atletico Madrid. It's cynical. It's yucky. It's football. So him going back. I mean, Benfica are a big club. Maybe he'd want to go back. I don't think it would hurt where he is in the Portuguese national team. He doesn't start for the national team. I think he'd still get called up, even if he's playing for Benfica. And obviously they got Martinez as a coach. I think he probably would still call him up, especially if he's playing all the time. He would just be a rotational player. It's either that, I've said it before, I think obviously Saudi would love him, but I've said like a Galatasaray has got his name on it and it would be a big signing for them. Champions League club. But I do wonder if this makes a lot of sense. It would have to be a loan, probably down to the money they've got, available wages. It's interesting that they want to get it done quickly. I think this would be very tempting for Chelsea because it's a problem that needs to be solved. And if they can just do it quickly, he's on a long contract, Joao. He's still only 25. He'll be 26 when this loan runs out and his profile might be raised. So Chelsea might be like, thank you very much. No loan fee, but pay all his wages. Maybe, I'm guessing. So, and that would do everyone a favour. And obviously done before the Club World Cup. He gets to go play for them. Maybe there is a Premier League clause in that he can't play against Chelsea in the Club World Cup. Obviously, that's a rule in the Premier League, but maybe that could be a clause in the loan. Yeah, you can have him for the Club World Cup, just if you come up against Chelsea, you can't play him. Because we want to win it and he's good. Maybe. It does sound like a solution, I must say. And I reckon it would be tempting for Chelsea because it could be done very quickly so they can put all their efforts into Nkunku and Raheem Sterling. Remember that guy? Raheem Sterling? Let me know what you think about that. Let's move on. Right. Enzo Maresca, much maligned Chelsea figure. In December, they were chanting his name, singing, "We've got our Chelsea back." In the 16th of April, it's ruddy miserable. The players do seem to like him. Now, Football 365 have talked about him resigning because he said he threatened this at Leicester. And by the way, I think Leicester and Chelsea are very different. He probably really backed himself at Leicester to get another good job because he was doing well. But you don't want to... I think it's different at Chelsea. Walking away from Chelsea, the prestige of club, would be a bigger choice for him. Also, who lose money. So the resigning thing, I think, is empty talk. ESPN did say, look, his job's under threat by the end of the season. Julian Laronov, ESPN said, well, they shouldn't sack him. I don't think they should sack him, and I'll tell you why. Unless we lose every single game for the rest of the season. Obviously, there's a way that you sack him. We go out against Rapid Vienna in the next round, and we finish 9th in the Premier League. Yeah, sack him. Get him gone. But if we win the Conference League and qualify for Europa upwards from Conference League or whatever the league positions, is kind of moot point then, isn't it? You want to finish higher just to show you're good in the Prem still. I don't think there's any point sacking him. Purely because, again, the players like him, and it's not just about keeping the players happy. Sometimes you need to whip them into line, but they do seem to all really like him. Players like Reece James, he's had multiple coaches, speaks very highly of him. And he works well within the hierarchy. Now, many of you watching this will have a disdain towards a hierarchy, and that's fair enough. But trust me, if there's not a harmonious working environment from coaching to sporting directors to club, you will be Manchester United and Tottenham, which is worse than Chelsea at the moment. So we need to be careful. Yes, if you said to me, Jan, you could just pick any other coach now, would you get rid of Maresca and you could have any other coach? You bet your buttocks I would. Yeah. So I'm not like some Enzo Maresca truther. He's certainly disappointed me in recent months in terms of form and some other stuff he's coming out with. I'm like you, mate. I don't want to be hearing it. But I am still trying to think long term here and just some continuity. Not just for like him to give him another chance, but we've just our young squad, and it's a wrongdoing to have such a young squad. Again, I'm not defending that. I feel like everyone's so volatile at the moment. I need to offer disclaimers every 30 freaking seconds. I want seniority in the team, yeah? But we've got a young team at the moment, and this is not like the golden era, the golden age of Chelsea, of Lampard, Drogba, and JT, and just constantly changing managers, but they ran the dressing room anyway, and the managers came and gone. We don't have that, bro. We have a bunch of children, and the children, they're getting thrown around like with different foster parents to their detriment. Some continuity could be good. If for some ruddy reason, Xabi Alonso decided, I'll go to Chelsea, sack Maresca now, don't even wait till the summer, bring him in now, bring him in Alonso now, I'm down. But all this like romanticism of just, I'll just get JT in. John Terry's never coached a team in his life. Like, yeah, he'll be, I'd love to bring JT in as an assistant coach, as someone to like get into the players at halftime, but not as like a tactician to operate as a Premier League manager in the top six. Like, this is silly business. Do you know what I mean? Like, I got nothing against John Terry. I love John Terry. He's the greatest captain of all time. But we need to be serious here, guys. I'd love for him to be involved, but I don't see any good but bad, Just constantly changing everything all the time is just going to ruin us. It will ruin us. And unless there's an obvious upgrade, I get people are upset with the status quo. And this is a me problem, by the way. Whenever you're frustrated with something in football, it's up to you to not be frustrated by it and just... if someone asks for your opinion, give it. So this is a me problem, right? When someone says, oh, I want this out, or them out, great. But what's your alternative? What's your solution? Can you see a better option for you to just say, this needs to change now? Because if you're just shouting into the abyss, like, it's like having a girlfriend and like, this is a really bad, dangerous analogy. Right, I'm not going to go down that route. It's like having something and saying, I want something better, but like just not a better option being there and something that you can get, essentially. It doesn't mean you should accept mediocrity or below standards. No, never. Always uphold your standards, especially at Chelsea Football Club. But you have to apply them to what's there until you see a better option. That's my opinion. And it's a me problem because it's a game of opinions. But here we go. Here we are. So I don't think we should sack him. He could get sacked, but at the moment, while he's still got the dressing room, while he's still in harmony with the club, I think it would just cause huge amounts of damage. And I don't see an obvious plug-and-play solution. Right, I do want to speak a little bit about Broja, because there is this article on The Athletic. And he still looked good, Broja. The second coming of Diego Costa in terms of how he plays. He gives me a little bit of the Noni Madueke's of, you see him doing there, like, a constant frustration throwing his arms up in the air. It's real tough. So, I'm just going to quickly scroll down about what's going on. Everton, who have used both their domestic loan spaces, looked to the prospect of sending Broja back to Chelsea, of course, after a difficult time with injury, with not playing. Potentially in January for exchange of taking Carney Chukwuemeka, who's doing very well at Dortmund. I think they might try and extend his loan for another year. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who, he has been useful, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, in the Conference League. It's better than not being useful at all. Or Ben Chilwell, which I would have been okay with as well. But the Chelsea were resistant, and the injury... not as bad as feared. He stayed put. He returned to action in March last month and made his first start under David Moyes as a genuine, of course, he's coming for Sean Dyche. There's a sense that Everton have not completely cut their losses with Broja, given the interrupted nature of their season he's had. The 30 million purchase option deal is unlikely to be activated. Yeah, 30 million quid. Remember when we wanted like 50, 60 million quid for him? Because he's kind of like, I don't know, he might be a player that if he gets fit and firing, he looks like this sort of Liam Delap player. Young, really direct, old school centre forward that can like bully defenders, stretch the play out wide. And we've got him, we own him. But of course, he's pure profit. And, you know, he's obviously been out injured and Delap's doing really, really well now. This is kind of a long read, so I might just go down a little bit here. Broja's value will be determined by whatever the market is willing to offer for him. From an Everton standpoint, the £30 million purchase option contained in the loan looks unrealistic after an injury-hit season. Fair. That's fair. Despite Broja's lack of minutes, Chelsea sources, speaking on a condition of anonymity to protect relationships, believe there will be significant interest because there is always demand for centre forwards and they will not sell on the cheap. And of course, adding a sell-on clause is a possibility to increase revenue. Yeah, Chelsea have been putting in a lot of sell-on clauses. And this is the thing. Broja has still got the streets. Even when he wasn't really scoring for Chelsea, he scored that one goal against Wolves. He had disappointing loans. I think he did all right at Vitesse. Southampton didn't really do much, but loads of clubs wanted him, yeah? Loads of clubs wanted him. In Europe, clubs in Germany, France, Italy, and Spain all have been showing interest in Broja. The sales pitch is likely to be there, is as a bargain to be had, especially if the striker can... Basically, they're saying Callum Hudson-Odoi. Look at Callum Hudson-Odoi at Nottingham Forest. These are the super talents out of Cobham. You can get value out of this guy. And, of course, you know, they're like unicorns strikers now. Although they are popping up a little bit more now. You know, the likes of Seshko and Delap underneath the superstar big names. Yeah, man. Yeah. I still think there's value there. Let me know what you think. Please do leave your thoughts down in the comment section. As always, thanks for hanging out with me here on Football Therapy. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing. If you choose to subscribe, hit the bell. And baby boy, baby girl, remember, daily content on the second channel, Football Yannick, which is non-Chelsea stuff. It gives me an opportunity to just talk football. So do go show your support there. Link will be in the description should you want to go and check out additional content, mes amis. Alright, mate. Take it easy. Enjoy the football. Peace.